Welcome back, barbecue fans, to the Wise Guys BBQ Podcast.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I nailed it. And it's us. It's really us. We're in a different studio, Charlie. We're in the wine cellar. Yeah, I know. And yes, we have a corkscrew. No glasses, but it's okay. You take a bottle.
We'll get through the glasses.
We'll get through it. But yeah, this is part of our new gigs here that we're stretching our legs into. We love it.
Like it.
Yeah, no, it's great. And you know what? We got a special show tonight, which I don't even want to kind of waste time right now. I want to get into it. We got Carlos Calzada from Smokin Los BBQ that's going to be joining us. He's
a Texican.
Yeah, he is a Texican. He's coming up for the CBA Triple Crown with a merged combined team with Pro Life Barbecue, who's going to be up here doing all three events. He's going for the belt buckle for sure.
This guy, just give you a heads up, this guy is the real deal, folks. So,
oh yeah, he's gunning. He's gunning for you, for you New England marshmallow. I think someone told me we were coined a moniker by some Texans as the New England Marshmallows, which I got offended because my shirt, my size, I could be a marshmallow, right? But anyways, it
was not this guy that said that.
No, it wasn't.
Carlos
this guy.
did not say that.
No.
But somebody else from Texas said it.
And Carlos is a great guy, and he's going to give us a good interview. So we're going to cut into that right now, and we'll see you on the backside of that.
All right.
All right, folks, here he is, Carlos Calzada from Smokin Los BBQ. We told you about him. We're worried about him. I mean, not me so much, but I know our competitors would get this guy in their crosshairs because he's coming up for the CBA Triple Crown in June, in July of this summer, and he is stoked. He's coming after that belt buckle. I heard you want that belt buckle, Carlos. Am I right?
Oh, yes. Belt buckles is my friend. I have a belt buckle rack over here. I could definitely. I'm gonna just move my camera just a little bit. That way y'all can see my belt
Oh,
buckles.
look at
On the
that!
floor
Oh,
right
yep.
here.
And I see the spot. I
But
see the spot needed to put the Rhode Island Triple.
it could go right there on the bottom.
There you go,
So
New England Triple
you're
Crown
right
spot.
about
It's
that.
already there. That's what I'm loving about
Yes,
this.
sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
no, I
sir.
mean,
I love that.
that's awesome. That's what we want to talk about. We want to hear. I mean, I know, and Matt Pierre has been on with Dan from Big Dog Sauce, and those guys are great. We love promoting this for them, so hopefully this will even be another helping hand to what they're trying to do. I'm hearing Rhode Island is really, really picking up. People are signing up for that thing left and right, but I know they want to fill some more spots both in Vermont and New Hampshire, so hopefully this will get some of that word out too. But, we want to know about you. We don't know much about you. I don't know anything about you. I know what I know from Bob Bowman, which was cool. I know you guys are friends.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, it was really cool. I know you were or still are in the Navy. Is that right?
I was.
Okay.
I was. I'll get into my intro. I'll let you finish. Your
Okay.
intro.
Sure. So, that's really what I want to hear. I want to hear about you, and I want to hear about Smokin Los BBQ and what it represents, how long you've been doing it. And then, I don't know, I think you've cooked up here before, right? In New England in a competition?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yep. I did the Rhode Island one last year.
Okay. All right. That's what it was. And we were there. Unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to meet you. But I'd love to hear the difference, in your opinion, the difference between a Texas competition and a Rhode Island or a New England competition, because we only know New England. I haven't been out in Texas yet. But, so let's hear about your background and hear all about Smokin Los BBQ.
All right. So my name is Carlos Calzada from Smokin Los BBQ. I reside here in Lavernia, Texas, about 30 minutes south of San Antonio, not too far from it. Originally, I'm from New York, so I am a New Yorker. So that's why I always have my New York Yankee hat. I'm a Bronx farmer. So always represent. That's right. Here, and we don't judge. We listen, but we don't judge. So one of the things, as you mentioned earlier, when I was 18, I joined the Navy right out of high school, and I did 20 years. I did some traveling as a hospital corpsman. I was stationed in Bethesda, Maryland, Groton, Connecticut. I was also stationed in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, North Carolina, and then my last duty station was here in Texas, and that's where I retired out of.
Sure.
And this is where I picked up the
All
barbecue
right.
scene down here in Texas. Man, as you know, it's just barbecue galore. I was stationed in the
Oh,
Northeast
yeah.
in Groton, Connecticut, and I did 3 years there, about from 2012 to about 2015, somewhere in that time frame. And that's when barbecue pitmasters was like huge and everybody was watching it. And I'm
Sure.
like, man, I would love to get, just to do one cook off. And so that's how it, I got like in barbecue. Cooking
Sure.
has always been in my family, I'm, Puerto Rican. So my grandmother, that's where I get it from.
Yeah.
My grandmother's the one who instilled barbecue into us. And I
Okay.
just love to cook.
Now, why is that? Is because
That's my
she did
love.
like some kind of outside grilling? Was there pit cooking? Why did she have a
No, it
barbecue
was just
experience?
my it wasn't barbecue, it was just the passion of food.
Okay.
And I get to that story in a little bit. My grandmother, man, she cooked for I love her,
Yeah.
that's where I get it from. It's from her
Yeah.
and just the passion, that's our love language is food and just to cook, and I just love it.
That's awesome.
And the reason I got into it, um, when I was deployed in Afghanistan, one of the freezers broke. We
Oh.
had so much meat in their freezers, and there were just food galore that
Oh
was in
boy.
there, and unfortunate events did happen while we was over there deployed, and it wasn't a good moment, a good time for the battalion.
Sure.
But like I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about
Oh
it. Is
boy.
with all the food that was there, and I just started cooking. The CBs left a little grill. It was a 55-gallon drum, and man, I was cooking. I was behind that grill for hours. We had some little bit downtime after the match casualties that we had and everything, and that was the quiet. That was the most at peace we were. It was just when everybody's behind the grill. I was behind the grill and I was loving it, but everybody else was behind me talking and just eating and just you could see the tension just relax just a little bit.
Oh, that's good.
Kind of
And
like
one of the things I
kind of like
always
your own backyard cookout while there's chaos
Yep,
going around.
chaos. Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, you hear it all. It's one of those things that, man, it wasn't a fun time at all, in my life, but I will always remember this. This is 2010, almost 15 years ago.
Right. Right.
And I brought it back to the States, and if you ever look at food is at every event. You have it at a baby shower, you have it at a funeral, you have it at a wedding, you have it at birthday party. It doesn't matter the event,
Great point.
food is there, good food. and and if it's bad, you're still going to talk about it, so that's
Yep.
one of the things, food and music, and those are the two things that bring a lot of people
sure.
together. So I just tried to I brought it back to the States, you
Awesome.
know,
Awesome. So I mean, it's
always
kind of
cook.
fascinating. Like you said, you ended up in Texas for
Yes, sir.
your last service. You discharged from Texas in Texas.
Hmm.
Um, but you were cooking before that. What got you into Texas barbecue? Like, what drove you into getting
Um,
involved in competition like that?
so the what really got me into it, I was doing a benefit fundraiser for one of the organizations that I got with over here at the time. Was called Hero Sports, and it was just a lot of food. We was doing plate sales, and that organization was to bring awareness to PTSD through sports and everything else. And my good friend Danny Gomez from D&D Barbecue, I was just talking to him like, man, I'd love to do a barbecue competition. And he says, oh, I have one in like 2 weeks. You want to join? And I was like, my eyes, man, I was just like,
Yeah. I'm
what?
in.
I was
I'm
like, yeah,
in.
let's go, let's go. And he was a cook that whenever he had the time he went to cook, but he did show me the ropes. And I went there and I just started cooking. And I was like, man, I thought I had one of the best ribs I ever cooked in my life. And you hear the story. Nah,
Yeah.
we didn't even, it was nowhere, nowhere, didn't,
Cool. Well,
as you
first of
can
all,
see.
thank you for your you're winning stuff back there. Thank you for your service.
Mm.
That was that
Absolutely.
yeah,
Thank you,
very
sir. I
Appreciate
appreciate
you.
very
it.
very brave man, and I appreciate that. And
Mhm.
Los Smokin Los BBQ. Where'd you come up with the name? What's behind it? Is there any relevance for why you named it that name?
So I was looking for my barbecue name and I really didn't know. I had my logo before I had my name. I knew because at the time when I was in the service, man, I was always working out and I was, believe it or not, I was
I
kind of
hear
strong and everything else, had to be. So I had the logo already picked out and I was like, man, I need a barbecue name, but I don't know. And love my wife. One day she was calling me, Los, can you make some ribs? I was like, ooh,
Oh,
Smoking Los.
there
Thank
you
you,
go.
baby.
Yeah.
So that's my name, thanks to my
Good
wife,
job.
Carlos. That's what my wife calls me. She calls
Yeah.
me Los. Every once in a when I'm a good, to
Yeah.
get on a good
When you're
side,
when you're on the, right when you're on the good side of
yeah,
the
when I'm on the good
paper.
side, definitely, so
Yeah.
so that's what she calls me. And a lot of my friends call me Los too growing up. So that's one of the things that everybody always called me Los. And it just, man, it had a good flow to it, and even my dog, his name was Smoke,
Oh yeah.
so yeah, let him rest in peace. But
Yeah.
he was Smoke, and I had Smoking Los. So he was
Yeah.
my little mascot with me.
Awesome.
That,
Carlos,
so,
did you tell the wife what an integral part she was in naming the company, or have you kept that a
Oh
secret?
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, she kind of knows, because it was her and my daughter.
Yeah.
We was all family behind, and we just this is it, and I just went with it.
Nice.
right. Now
Very good.
is the most of your competitions in Texas? Are you predominantly competing in
Uh,
Texas?
yes, I did go up to Rhode Island. I
Yeah.
had a good cook up there.
Yeah. What got you up here? Like what how did that happen? I mean, I know you
Well,
just
so
CBA kind of twist your arm or something.
no, not at all. So my family's from New York,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
so I have all my family in New York, and
Sure.
I saw it popped up, and people don't. What's this is how much I love Texas, right? There's a cook-off this weekend that is roughly 3 hours away from my house.
Okay.
So it's a 3 hour drive. But
Yeah.
if I fly to New York and I'm in my mom's house, from my mom's house to Rhode Island is only 2 hours.
Oh wow.
Right.
Amazing.
So
Yeah,
so
Texas is
people were
just
like, "Oh, you're
ginormous.
going all the way to Rhode Island?" I was like, that it's less time from granted, yes, I am flying, but
Yeah.
I
from my
get it.
mom's house where I'm staying there,
Yep.
from that drive over, and there's been times that I've driven in Texas, and this is just me, like
Right.
8 hours just to go to a competition in
Yeah.
Texas,
Yeah.
so
Texas is
it is pretty
ridiculous.
large.
Texas is vast.
Yep. So
I agree.
yes, then
I
I mean,
agree.
there's cook-offs every weekend in Texas at a minimum 10 to 15 cook-offs,
Yeah.
throughout the whole state with all the different sanctioning bodies and everything else. So, man, like you mentioned, I was consistent, and that's my cook that I borrowed Matt. Thank you, Matt. I truly appreciate it. I used all of his equipment,
Yeah.
and he's sending me a message. He was like, "Oh man, all I have is a rec tech and a drum." And I sent him a message. I was like, "This is what I have, and guess what I use? A rec
They're
tech and a
taking the
drum."
drum. Perfect.
But yeah, but he has a bigger one. He has the big the BFG, and at the time I have the 1250, but
Okay.
right now I have the 1400, and I'm
Yeah.
I'm still with the Rectech. I still use that and a gateway drum.
Yep.
But I didn't change. I flew with my meats and I flew with my spices and my sauces and everything else, and I didn't change my recipe. I the same recipe I ran up there is the same recipe I run down
Yep.
here in Texas. I don't. I might tweak it a little bit here or there, but it's usually the same thing. I
Yep.
I, I try not to.
Hey,
My food is good.
Tell me a
It,
little
it,
bit
it
about your
really
team.
is.
Who makes up your team? Is it just you, or you got some team members there?
Oh, so my team consists of Smokin Los, which is me, and
Yep.
then my wife
Okay.
and my daughter,
Yeah.
and then whenever my son is here.
All right.
My
Nice.
daughter, she
True. True
there's no
family event.
I oh yes it is. I do bring people, sometimes I bring my good buddy Richard Cruz with me or John Seguda.
Yep.
We team up every once in a while just to alleviate offset the prices of the cost, and that's about it. You're like,
Right.
hey, I want to cook. Oh, I want to cook. Hey, let's team up. And
Yeah.
that's, every once in a while we'll team up, but usually it's just myself, going out and I'm doing everything. My daughter, she cooks my steaks for me, and she has a story about that too. So she does an awesome job with my cook's choice, you
Nice.
know. So she loves, and she's my test. Hey, man, she'll tell you, like she'll taste some people's food, and she'll let you know. And like with me, she's brutal, and I'm like, ooh, she's like, Dad, don't put that in there. That's disgusting. I was like, ouch. I'm like,
So
come on, baby girl, like,
yeah.
so and I
So
and I
she's got it.
won't,
She's dead on, right? She knows if it's good,
Oh
it's
yeah,
good. If it's not, she'll tell you.
she is.
Good.
Even like you mentioned, Bill Purvis. One time
Yep.
she tasted his burn ends,
Yep.
And she was like, "Oh, that's good. That's gonna walk high." And he did. He walked like a third place. I'm like, "Hey,"
Yeah.
So he gave her a little head nod, and but yeah, she's she does pretty well in the kids cooking too. She's won quite a few, couple. Actually, some of these awards are hers as well too. These not
Oh,
all
great.
mine.
Nice.
Nice. So
Yes.
what's your
Yep.
vibe in your cook in your camp? Is it you guys listening to music? Do you got a certain music you like? Are you hanging loose? Are you uptight? What's going on? And what is your
Uh,
walk up song for CBA? I know CBA has a
we-
walk up song.
yes, sir. So my walk-up song, I grew up in New York, so Big Pun, he was one of my idols growing up, and it's 100%.
Yeah.
And you hear like the melody come in, and then one of the first things it says Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
That's my pride. Got
Y-
my flag.
Nice.
And then I give him that quick throw my, and he says it, and that's why you always see us just give us a face pump, a fist pump,
Yep.
and just we
Yep.
just move on, and so that's my Friday nights. I'm usually doing the cook's choice, hanging out, giving people the food. Just I'm a real mellow on Friday night, and I just like to. I'm usually in bed by 10 o'clock. 10:30 is the latest. I'm asleep by then.
Yep.
You know, Saturday morning comes up. First thing I do is put on my walk up song.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I want to start the day off right. So
There you
first song
go.
that comes on, and then I listen to worship music. So I listen to
Yeah.
worship music from when I first wake up until usually right around chicken turning.
Okay.
It's just straight worship music, and you'll see me in my little zone, just real calm, real relaxed, praising the Lord.
Yep.
Because as Matt probably told you, I mean, Matt and
And Bob.
Bob. Yep. So I do barbecue church in the morning. I like to do it at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
So that's one of the first things that I do. I give
Explain that.
Yeah.
Explain
all.
Tell us about that. What's
what's
barbecue?
barbecue church.
Is that you? Is that
Yep.
your
So
development?
no, it's not my development. That's something that started with Hector Villanueva, Fred Robles down here in Texas. Before we get into cooking and everything else, they started a little 15-minute just talking about Jesus and God and why we're here, the true meaning of why we're here. Not for barbecue, it's for fellowship. And so there was a cook-off that, man, I needed the word and they wasn't there. And I was like, man, I really wish I could get a word right now. And I picked up the Bible and I said, you know what? Hey, if anybody want to come to barbecue church? Come on. So, and then I
Nice.
picked it up, and now
Fantastic.
everybody, they praise that I do it, and I wish somebody else would pick it up too. And
Yeah.
when
Give
Yeah.
I'm
you a
not,
break.
when I'm not there, when I'm not there, I know I don't
I
mind.
think Bob does a good shot at that. He tries.
Yep,
He has
yep,
Facebook Live a church celebration on Sunday mornings when he's at
yep.
competitions.
And he started that because if you ever watch his first one, when I went up to Rhode Island, I took it up there to Rhode Island also. I brought my Bible with me, and I said, hey,
Good for you.
let's do barbecue church.
Yeah.
Bob went there. That's one of the most important things, leaving my legacy up there. If out of all things, that's it.
Right.
So what's your
Right.
And
what's your
continue up
turnout?
there.
What's your turnout for barbecue church on
Uh,
every?
Man,
I
the
mean,
the
it's good if you only
smallest I
get one,
had,
but I mean, how many do you get?
the smallest I had was one, and sometimes I get, and obviously it depends on the size of the cook-off.
Yep.
If it's a larger cook-off, sometimes, man, I get 13 to 20 people in there, and
Nice.
I'm like, wow.
Right.
And it's just one of those things that I love to do in the morning is just be at, be
Yeah,
with the
it
Lord.
centers you,
This
right? It
is
centers you. It gets you all focused in
Oh
on
man,
everything.
so much focus.
Yeah.
Man, there's been a few cook-offs that I had people on this side, that side, and listening to their music, and I never, okay, that's your music,
Right.
and they turned off their music to listen to worship music, and they were like, man, because they were like, oh, that's a good song, and that's what I needed, just to,
Yep.
just to,
Does your family
and some
participate
people
in
come
that?
up.
Is that like one? Is that a
Oh
family
yes,
event? Yeah.
yep, yep, that sure
That's
is.
awesome.
That's one of,
That's real sweet. I
yep,
love
and
to hear
my
that.
daughter, she's always there with me, and she's the DJ, so she picks certain
How old is
songs.
she?
We got we she's 13, and
Okay.
he's 20. My son is 23. He just joined the Air Force,
He
so
just
he's in the Air
graduated
Force
the Air
now.
Force Academy, right? I saw your
It
picture on
not
Facebook.
yeah, not long ago, but yes, he's stationed up in DC right now. So
Congratulations. Congratulations.
yep,
Should be proud.
yep, and he's loving. And oh, I am. I drove from here all the way up to DC with him.
Nice.
So, but yeah, but that's what my morning consists of, and then right. Well, and it's also depending on how things is going.
Yeah.
Sometimes right around chicken turn in, I taste that chicken, and man, if that thing get, oh, if I know that I nailed that chicken, it's
It's a good day.
it's pretty often that I do. It's a good day, man, and I just switch it. Then I start my walk up song again, and then I have a CBA walk up, and I put everybody's I have everybody's walk up songs on
Yep.
there because after a while you know whose song it
Oh
is,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
and yep, man, I just hit play, and man, we just listen to all these people's like, hey, that's my, and it's just a good, a
Yeah.
good time to listen to other people's songs.
Fantastic.
Last
So
year,
go
last
ahead.
year was new. No, I just wanted to say on the walk ups, I didn't know that they even did that. That was part of it,
Yeah.
and it was new to me last year, and it was, I think, new to everybody. So like they weren't like getting into it. They'd play
Yeah.
the music, and the competitors were just kind of strolling up, like they weren't
Yeah.
rocking and rolling up to get to pick up their prize. But no, I think that's cool.
Oh,
That's a
I
cool thing.
was,
Yeah,
and once again, I apologize. I didn't get to see y'all last year, but yeah, I was the one who, they called my chicken first, and I always threw
good,
the,
good. Yeah,
you
we'll definitely
know,
see you at the Rhode Island
Outstanding.
one this year. We're going
Yeah,
to be there.
that'll be great.
So I'm sorry I cut you off.
awesome.
What you got?
No, I just wanted to ask Carlos. You gave us a pretty good rundown of what a day cooking is with you. You start out
Hmm.
with the church and get your music going and get everything focused. But what do you think sets your barbecue apart from anybody else? Is this something you do that without giving away trade secrets or anything like that? But is it something that you focus on to get your meat and your product nice and consistent and maybe sets it apart a little bit? Marinades,
Man, this is
rubs,
yeah, it's pro tip, right? This is one of the things I learned from picking it up. Preparation is key. Like a lot of people just go and think that the barbecue competition starts
Right.
on Friday, and they really don't. Like, so today is usually my prep day. Today is my day that I'm usually trimming my meats, or if not trimming my meats, sometimes working on my sauce. I did that yesterday because I knew that today I wasn't going to be able to.
Yep.
Like tomorrow is loading the trailer up, making everything sure that everything is it's my prep. My
Yep.
prep is 100% got me to where I'm at right now. I do the same thing every time. I don't change anything. And quality of meats, I make sure that I'm going in there with quality meats. I wasn't sure what I was going to get up in Rhode Island, so I flew with my meats last year.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to know
Now I
your
know a
product.
process. I'm gonna
Yep.
just, oh yeah, yeah. So um, 90% of the time, the brisket that I'm cooking is a Snake River farm.
Yep.
The other five is a Midland meat. And then sometimes I hit out the chopping block at out of Victoria, John Trainer.
Mm-hmm.
They have some really good rosewoods over there. So anywhere within those three, with those three briskets, I usually cook. Ribs, I prefer prairie fresh. That is my number
Yep.
one thing to use. Every once in a while, I can't find a nice sack or rack of ribs. I'll go to HEB and get some HEB
Yeah.
naturals.
You
Same
got
thing with the pork.
that's HEB in Texas is just gold. I wish we had a
Oh
market
yes,
line like that had
yeah, oh
those
yeah.
quality
Listen,
meats. You know what I mean? You guys, if you have
yep,
to, you got it right there. We gotta go scramble if
yep,
we need
yeah.
something.
No, 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 no. HEB. That's same thing with the pork, and then the chicken. I use the HEB naturals.
Yep.
And again, it's down here a Texas thing. Um, but that's one of the reasons I won't move out of Texas is because I have to have an HEB, and that was one of my requirements when we bought a house was HEB needs to be within 30 minutes at a
Nice.
max.
Yep.
So now, but that's what I do, and then my presentation, man, I take my time with my boxing. I take my time with I know my sauces, I know my rubs, I
Right.
know my cooking equipment, I know what's gonna look like. I keep an eye out on that and try not to be distracted as much,
Yep.
during my process of my cook. But every box, and I'll send you some what my boxes look like after this. All my boxes look identical.
Yeah. Yeah. Selection's
I
key.
don't change. Yep,
Yep.
my pork, I might change it up just a little bit, just depending on what the pork does.
Yep.
Because, man, sometimes one money muscle wants to be the best one ever, and I try to give them that one first.
Sure.
Or sometimes they all great, and I just give them all. So
Yeah.
it just depends on how creative I want to be with my pork.
So are you cooking three? Are
Briskets,
you cooking three money muscles, and you're taking like maybe 9, 10 slices from different ones depending on how they look?
I cook 4 money mussels.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I cook 4 money mussels. Yep, I cook 4 money mussels, and because I do like the way it looks in the box
Yeah.
and it's the way I put it in, sometimes I do 3 rows, sometimes I do a diagonal with chunks and then pulled, and sometimes again it
Oh, so
depends
you
on
do add some pull
the
in there?
product.
So you'll do
Oh yeah, I
slices
add
and
pull.
pull? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep, and bacon, just depending on again my
Yeah.
cook, if it's really good,
Yeah.
the way I present it, if it's sweet, if it's too sweet, I add a little kick to it. If it's too kicky, I add a little sweet to it.
Yeah. All right.
So
So now,
I like cooking pork.
are you predominantly a Champion Barbecue Alliance, or do you get into any KCBS or, um, NEBS events? Do you do anything other than CBA?
Yeah, so CBA is my primary, and it's just because I love cooking pork.
Yeah.
And most of them are really close by to me.
Sure.
After that, I cook some IBCA, which is another sanctioning down here in Texas.
Okay.
That's a 3 meat category, no pork on that one. I
Yep.
cook a few outlaws. It's been a while. Those is like 4 or 5 hours away, so I want to if they was closer to me, but
Yeah.
and the few KCBS, the Danny Dietz, that's one of my all-time favorite KCBS cook-offs that I've done. That's down here in Texas. Jen, she does a phenomenal job with that.
Nice.
Um, and it's just a great
Right.
cook-off at Yogi Berra. Jellystone, Yogi Bear, same difference, right?
Yeah.
At Jellystone,
Yeah.
uh, at Jellystone down here in Waller, Texas, man, it's just perfect. Pull up there with the
Right.
RV, stay there for the whole weekend, and just, and of course, Danny Dietz is a Navy SEAL, who
Yeah.
passed away in Operation Red
I didn't
Wing.
know
So,
that.
that's one that, man, I take that one to heart. Oh, I don't have it here, but one of my greatest memories is from that cook off. I hit a first place rib there,
Oh,
and
wow.
get the
Yeah,
goosebumps.
good for
Yeah,
you.
with that one, and the story behind that, Adam Martinez, love you, bro. One of my Marine brothers. We just made a bet. We made a bet, like, hey, who's gonna cook the best ribs? He's an awesome man. My ribs were really good that day, but I got lucky that I beat. He is an awesome rib cooker.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those days. I was like, hey, let's bet. And we
Yeah.
bet. He was like, hey, whoever comes higher uh has to hold the opposite because he's a Marine, so has to hold the opposite. So if I won, he holds the Navy one. If he won, I would hold the Marine one.
Gotcha.
But I was stationed with the Marine, so it doesn't bother me. I love my Marine brothers. I just give them a hard try. And, so man, they called his number and he was second place. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, listen, so there was a guy that was sitting right next to me, and I was like, my ribs were good. There's only one spot, and
Yeah.
I remember the last 3 numbers. So I'm gonna just say 7-2, 7-5, and the last three was 2-2-2.
Yeah.
And it gentleman, man, I lost my voice that day, and I'm just most excited, man. So, but it was an IBCA cook-off at that time, and oh man, and nobody knows. I mean, this room was completely. I mean, it was 80 something plus teams there, maybe 90.
Wow.
It was a lot of teams there, and
Yeah.
the only person I saw in that whole room was Adam. And me just screaming at him, just saying, "Hey, I got you."
Yeah.
So that's an awesome. So I have that award. I have that in my office.
Cool. That's a great
So
story.
that feeling of like
Oh
number
yeah,
one and something, doing that walk. I mean, you must chase
oh yeah,
that. You
yeah,
want to
yeah,
feel that again.
yeah, definitely. No, no. So one of the things with me is man, if I turn this camera around, I got a first place rib right there at the Umble Rodeo.
Yep.
That was a huge one, right? And again, that's another one. Man, I knew my ribs was on point that day,
Yeah.
and I just had that feeling. There's sometimes that I'm an honest cook with myself, man. If I know my food, like man, this is it, this is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I get it, awesome, and if I don't, it's okay because I'm one that I enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
As long as it's fair. If it's a fair cook, man, in Texas, the cooks that we have over here, man, they are. We got some heavy hitters, man. Every
Right.
weekend is a Royal Rumble.
Yep.
Hmm.
All right, so let's get
There's no
let's get
check.
into it. Which one of these New England marshmallows are you gunning for? Is there anybody in your scopes that you're thinking you want to teach a lesson to in competition? Seeing you did one last year, and you know this field pretty good as far as New
Yeah,
England guys.
Waypoint Jeff.
Waypoint, yeah, Jeff.
Just because he's a Marine
Oh, really?
or Coast Guard.
Yeah.
He's in the service. I don't know, one of those that I don't care about. Whatever.
And he won it
But
last year,
he's
right?
great.
And,
He did win it last year, man. Congratulations. I was fortunate enough to meet him again at so the winner from Rhode Island went to the Jack Daniels. So I saw
yes.
him again
Yep.
at the Jack Daniels. My good friend Ira Green, shout out to him, asked me to go up there to cook the ribs for him. So I
Okay.
went up there, helped him out, doing the process, the cook's choice, and he's another great friend of mine
Yeah.
in the barbecue down here. So I met him up there and just gave him a hard time. So
Yeah.
I got it out for him. And then and I'm still kind of upset at Bill. I doesn't Gillespie. Like there's no way that he win first
Chicken.
place with damn hot dogs. I was like,
Oh
man,
yeah.
much respect to
A
you,
lot of
bro.
people aren't happy about that.
That was over. That was
Yeah,
over at the
much
Jack, right? The hot dog,
yeah,
the New York style wiener. Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But much respect to you thinking outside the box, and
Yep.
hey, you know what it is? They probably got tired of seeing steak and lobster and steak
Lobster.
and
Yeah.
this and steak, and he thought out, yeah, he thought outside the box, and man, it's very true, and that's why I
Yeah.
love it. That's why I love it.
So what's the future? What's your legacy? What goes on with you? You just gonna keep doing competitions, keep upping your game a little bit, or do you got some other plans? You ever gonna open up anything maybe on the retail side? What are you thinking?
Man, that's one of the things I leave that to the Lord. I let the Lord tell me what I'm gonna
Okay.
do, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue to cook, as long as I can. I did slow down a lot, so I'm not cooking as much, and it's just a financial burden. I
Yeah.
have a few sponsors, but no monetary sponsors. But the sponsors that I do have, I do appreciate
Yeah.
because that helps out a lot. But I just can't afford to cook every weekend like I was doing before. It's a burden.
It is, and
It,
the food costs
you know,
are up, right? So that's adding
yeah,
more to it.
yeah, it's everything is up. So I'm gonna just take cook. I try to do one a month. Just to at least go out there because my daughter, it's our therapy. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things I have with um Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation.
Yeah.
Shout out to them. They're one of my sponsors too. And that's just another great organization as well too.
A competition like the Jack on your radar screen? Would you like to nail this one a competition up here and get a call to go down to the Jack?
To answer that question, yes, right, but I won't chase it if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, that is, the Super Bowl or the FIFA World Cup of barbecue, right? Because it's
Yeah.
Sure.
invitational, so not everyone goes to it. So you are having
Yeah.
the cream of the crop that's going to it.
Yeah. No,
If it
you're
falls in my lap, I would definitely take it, and I would definitely go and do it. However, I'm not going to go crazy and lose my mind if I don't make it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's actually great advice because people who say they get a shot, it happens organically, right? If you're so stressed and
Yep,
tensed and chasing that opportunity, it
correct.
constantly eludes you, right? So you got to take it
It does.
organically and you got to take it in pace. That's good.
Yep,
That's
because
good
I've
advice
seen,
right there.
man, I've seen a lot of teams down here in Texas, man. I've seen a lot that have chased it and they can't get it, but when it comes naturally, some of them, it just, you know, uh, man, I won't. Carlos Smokin Los BBQ will not chase to go to the Jack. If I get called to go to the Jack, I would love it. But I won't, you know,
Good. We're going to be rooting for
go
you.
crazy
Well, I
for it.
mean, listen, if you
Yep, thank you.
that's the way to look at it, right? If you take care of
Hmm.
business, like you take care of your cooks the way
Yep,
you know you can, and
yep,
you get you win something, okay, you go, right?
hmm
I mean, but
yep,
you're not gonna
yep,
torture
yep.
yourself over
I'm
it.
not gonna, I'm not gonna torture myself over it, man, because I've did a lot of chasing. I did a lot of running around for points, and it was fun. I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish in the barbecue circuit down here. I'm a New York City boy,
Right?
Yep.
and
Yep.
cooked down here in Texas. I've done really well down here, and I enjoy it. And, I've done well up there. Haven't besides the American Royal. I went there. My best call there was a turkey call. But I'll take that. How many entries they have up there, so I got a call there.
Yeah.
My daughter got a call there. She got a second place call.
You're talking about the
Uh,
KCBS, the huge event. Yeah.
correct. Yep.
That's
And
great.
that was a pretty. I mean, that one was. It was a huge cook off, man. It was one of those like your eyes just open, wow. Like, but we also have a lot of those here in Texas too, man.
Right.
We get some of our cook offs down here. We get to the 300 team cook offs.
Holy
So
smokes.
those are pretty wild too, also too.
Yep.
Yep.
All
And
right, here we go. We're going to go a little lightning round here. A couple of quick action
oh
questions and
oh
answers. All
man,
right. Favorite cut to smoke? What's your favorite competition cut?
man, that's a trick question. I'm gonna just answer it. Just
Come on,
ribs.
it's supposed to be good. Ribs.
Because
All right. We're going with
yeah,
ribs.
ribs. Yeah.
It's got to be quick. Barbecue hero or inspiration?
Joey Smith.
Joan Smith?
Joey Smith.
Joey Smith. Okay.
Give us a little background on
Yes.
Joey Smith. Who's that?
So Joey Smith. Nope, lightning round. Actually, the next question. I got.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
boy.
I only got one more.
Come on, come
Because
on.
you already answered the other two. One tool you can't live without.
My Bible.
There you go. Good answer. Good answer. All right. Tell us about Joey. What's going on there? How's he your inspiration?
So, Joey. Um, this was 2021. I'm driving back from Jacksonville, Florida. I used to make the drum smokers, and I delivered three of them. And my PTSD got the best of me that day. That drive coming back. Man, I was struggling. I don't know how I got back.
Okay.
Uh, I was hurrying back because I had a competition the following weekend. So it's Wednesday, man. I drove from Jacksonville, Florida, all the way to my house. No stops, no nothing. I just drove, and I don't know how I got home, but I made it home. And the Lord got me home. And I'm shopping with my wife. We in Walmart, and I'm trying to get. Man, we're trying to shop for the competition, and I froze. Like I'm grabbing something, and I froze. I just break down, and I didn't know what was going on. I just complete. This is my testimony. Complete blacked out. You know,
Wow.
get home. My wife had to drive home. If it wasn't for her, again, she's my everything. She was like, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So, um, I had Barbecue Champs. That's one of my other sponsors. Barbecue Champ Academy. With Mike Steele. So Joey Smith's class was there. I had his class.
Okay.
So I put my headphones on, and I'm just listening to Joey talk about barbecue. So I'm listening to, I'm like, man, thank you, thank you, thank you, and I'm just going through his motion. I'm doing my prep. I got everything situated. I'm doing all my trimming, and it's barbecue heroes, and I'm just there, just doing what I have to do, doing what
Yep.
I have to do, and listening to him. And I was able to go to sleep, you know.
Nice.
And I'm like, man, this is something I needed this so much. And I listened. It was my um,
Mantra. It was like your mantra.
yep,
Yep.
there it is. That's the word, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was able to go to sleep listening to that, and I was like, man, okay, cool. Woke up the next day, did my prep again.
Yep.
I put back barbecue champs, and I was able to relax a little bit. I didn't know that he was going to be at the cook-off on that cook-off that weekend.
Oh boy.
He was there.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
That's the way the Lord works.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? He
Yep.
was there,
Lines things up, right?
and right, Joey Smith and I at that time we talked maybe a handful of times through social media. I've seen him in cooking. I've seen him. I've never met him. I never introduced myself. Hey, my cook. Hey, we wasn't buddies at the time.
Right.
And just looked at him. Thank you, appreciate it. Out. So I went to him that day. I went into his RV. His wife was there, Casey, and the dogs and everything else. I want to say Patty was there, and also Johnny was there too. And I said, hey, you don't know me from Adam, buddy, but I want to tell you this. And I told him everything that I just told you, and I just
Yeah.
started crying.
Yeah.
Everybody in there was just, just man, there wasn't a dry eye.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Wow, that's very powerful." I was like, "Yes, thank you." And I was like, "Hey,
That's an
your voice
awesome
soothed
story.
me and everything, right?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, you don't know this, but we started an organization. I was like, oh, what is it? Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation. And I was like, oh, what is that? You're like, oh, we're gonna bring veterans in who suffer from PTSD and everything else, and we're gonna cook with them and show them everything else. And um, so like, oh, I would love to be a part of this. A whole year later, we just keeping in contact and everything else. I'm seeing a lot of people go through the program. A
Right.
whole year later, I go through the program as a student, and it would just helps me out so much after that.
That's fantastic.
And I said thank you. So now I'm one of their pit coaches,
Yep.
for them, for the veterans who come back. So he's one of my inspirations on helping others, and he's one of those whose heart is just as
Yeah.
big as So right now he does Texas Chrome outdoors. He does a lot of fishing down in Port O'Connor, I believe.
Uh-huh.
The foundation still cooks, not as much as they used to, because again, it's costly. It costs them a lot of money to come out.
Sure.
They have a huge events, two big cook-offs that they do.
Right.
So he is one of my you know very thankful,
Yeah.
my barbecue hero that I look up to, because what he has done for the veteran community and first responders. Let me,
Yep. Yep.
also in the first responders as well too, because it's not just for the veterans.
Sure.
And it's just one of those that I'm forever thankful for.
Well, that's a,
There is a lot more, but that one is the most impactful for me personally. Carlos first, and then
yeah.
Smoking Los BBQ, if that makes
Awesome.
sense.
All right, Carlos, closing thoughts. What advice would you give someone just getting started or thinking about getting into a competition for the first time?
Uh, First few things, man, is um, be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, you cook home, you cook great. Everybody says yeah, but it's free. So
Right.
everybody
Yeah,
cooks. Everybody
exactly.
says,
You're everybody's best friend when you're
everybody
giving them
says your
food.
food, when you give them food, but truly enjoy it. Enjoy the moments, because these are memories that you will never forget. Thank you for the opportunity for me to be on this show. It's through barbecue that I'm getting to see
Yeah.
and be nice, be kind, be humble.
Yep.
And enjoy it, man. I just go out there, enjoy it. If you can take a class, take a class. Barbecue Champs
Right.
Academy is another one.
Yep.
So, one of my other sponsors as well too, man. I took Bill's class. I took Bill Purvis's class on there. I've taken Joey Smith's class on there, and I won one of the backyard classes. And I just took a whole bunch of little backyard classes that they had on there too. So
That's awesome.
barbecue champs, yep. And I've given classes, before as well too. If you can, give a class, take a class,
Yeah.
for somebody who could,
So I'm glad you bring that up.
actually
So
Bill.
how do we tell our listeners to keep following Smokin Los BBQ? How do we keep in a leg in your world?
Yep. So I do have all socials. Everything is Smoking Los Barbecue. I have Instagram. I have Facebook. Uh, what's the other one? I have Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. They're all
Okay.
Smoking Los Barbecue.
Nice.
And or not, my name is Carlos Ruben Calzada Jr. on Facebook. Send me a friend request. I'll accept it.
Yeah.
Going up there, I'm not cooking under Smoking Los when I go up northeast. I'm cooking
Okay.
with Pro Life Barbecue.
Oh wow.
We teaming up. Yep, we are
Okay.
teaming up there. We just I called him. I called him and said, "Hey, man, I met him up there when
Where is he
the
from? Is he
last
from
cook off.
Texas or is he from Rhode Island?
No, he's
No.
up there northeast.
Okay.
He has his own Pro Life Barbecue.
All
He has
right.
his podcast as well too.
That's awesome.
You guys
Final
I'm sorry,
words.
go ahead.
No, final words for your fellow pitmasters up here in New England for this Triple Crown, these so-called marshmallows. What do you got to say for them?
Stay blessed and God love y'all, man.
Yeah.
Cook your cook, right, and just
Yeah.
have fun. I'm not. Even though yes, I am a Yankee, right? I'm not a trash talker, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I truly am not, man.
Yeah.
I
I know.
just I just love to enjoy the time and just fellowship, and man, let's just have fun.
That's great.
Let the best person win, because it's anybody's day anytime you go up there. Cook.
Yep.
All right. So one, I would like to thank God for blessing me with this opportunity. I would like to thank you for allowing me to be on your show, and a few sponsors of mine that I have. Texas Chrome Heroes Foundation. Thank you. I've given you my story on that. Texas Pepper Jelly, one of my Thank you, Craig Sherry, and everybody else behind that. They provide my sauces, my rubs that I use. I also have the barbecue store. So if you ever need any barbecue rubs, spices, whatever it is, just hit them up. They'll send it to you. Reggie Q Barbecue, he's another great friend of mine. He's doing great things.
Well,
Well
that's
done.
great. Well, good show. Thank you very much. And I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you in June.
Definitely will.
All right.
Stay blessed, y'all, and I'll be up there.
All right, Carlos.
Adios.
Thanks for talking with us. Bye-bye.
All right, that was a fantastic interview once again,
Isn't he
Carlos.
unbelievable?
Thank you so much, man. You hit it out of the park.
He is so knowledgeable and so centered and grounded. And I love that barbecue, his family and his friends do that for him. I think that is so cool.
You can tell right away that he has got his thing down.
Yes.
He knows what he's doing, knows what he wants to do, knows what he wants to accomplish. To this point, he's done a great job.
And he just lets it come organically.
Yeah,
right?
naturally.
He doesn't, no, that's
not
great.
pushing
So,
it.
Carlos, thanks, man. Good luck. I know you're looking at Waypoint to kind of compete with them a little bit extra this time because they won that state piece last year, and I know there's a bunch of people you admire and would love to compete against in those events. So good luck. I wish you and your team the best of luck, and I am dying to see how this thing rolls out. I'm going to be there. Unfortunately, I can't be at the Vermont, the first leg of it in Vermont, but I will see you for sure, Rhode Island, and hopefully in New Hampshire. So
We got something coming up this weekend, right?
Yeah, no, we got a mass in May.
Mass in May, this Saturday.
Yep, in Wrentham, Massachusetts. We got one of our first regional competitions for the area, and a lot of old guard competitors are in that, and they're tuning up their game. They're knocking off the rust, and
Should be a good cook.
yeah, and it's also the first leg of Kathy Trainer's Triple Crown for the KCBS. So wish you guys a lot of luck. Hopefully, you're watching this at your camps this weekend while you're getting your cook down. And good luck and stay dry. I'm hoping there's not that much rain. We're gonna come, so we usually bring the rain. I'm sorry.
Maybe if we say we're not going, it'll be beautiful, and then we'll just sneak in.
Yeah, maybe right last minute,
Something like that.
So good luck to you guys, and do well. And
hit that like and subscribe button.
Yeah, I always screw that up.
Nah, not as much as me, but
yeah, please. We need
and subscribe, guys.
We need your support. So thank you very much. Have a great weekend. Stay dry and eat some more barbecue.
Adios.
I was purposely waiting for.